So I'm not sure if y'all saw this or not. My guy Def Rebel. Y'all know who Def Rebel is, right? Does all the entrance music for WWE. He was catching it a couple days ago on social media. I haven't heard it yet, but I guess they redid the Creed Brothers entrance. And for all intents and purposes, it ain't good. So people were going ham on Def Rebel. And then it comes to find out, I find today, his name is Doug Davis. He's a businessman. So on his Wikipedia page, it says he is an American music industry executive, entertainment lawyer, and producer. He has won 4 Grammy Awards.
Woo!
He is the founder and managing partner of the Davis Firm, a music, entertainment, and sports law firm. He is the executive producer of the annual Clive Davis pre-Grammy Gala. Has nothing to do with WWE. But then it does say Davis has produced original music for Disney, Netflix, WWE under the name Def Rebel, Nickelodeon, and Paramount Pictures. So I just need to ask Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis, you got 4 Grammy Awards. Why are we sitting here with some of these simplistic ass theme songs? Now he does hit sometimes, right? He does hit. So what I was going to ask you guys was, like, what's your Mount Rushmore of interest things? But I think we did that like a few episodes back. I don't know which number it is. If you don't know which one, go listen to all of them. It's only 114 of them you got to listen to. Then let us know which one it was so we can plug it. But if you guys had to pick 2 current interest themes that you just absolutely love from WWE, because if it's recent, he's probably done them, what 2 would you go with?
Not entrances, just purely the song itself.
Just the music. Yep.
Nope, that was not him. That's not him.
You was about to say Undertaker?
No. No, I was gonna say R-Truth. Then I was gonna say Cody. We know that ain't the case. I just think it's polarizing, but I like Io Shirai. Could that have been, or Sky?
100%.
Done that?
Yep.
So he did Io.
Unless that was who was other people? Was it
CFO?
CFO. That might be CFO.
I was going to say NCO. Yeah, CFO.
I was going to say electronics. So I would have been way off. No. So that was probably CFO. So then I kind of like Judgment Day or Seth. He's just his music is just polarizing right now. But let's go Judgment Day.
So you going Judgment Day?
Yeah, why not?
All right. I would have went EO too, but I'm gonna go Trick Williams. Like I think the majority of the reason why he's over as he is his entrance song, which also shows just how important that music is. Like he's married to that music forever. They should not change that music unless he has a massive personality change going forward. Who you got, E?
That's a good pick, Matt. But part of what makes that song hit, much like Seth, is the fan participation with it, right? They can yell out, "Whoop that trick," which is still funny. I like the chant.
You
right?
got to get over it,
whoop
man.
that trick.
You got to get over it.
Right?
You know what we mean.
I don't know. But Booker T too, man. I wonder how that's going to sound.
I like it.
It's very interesting because I didn't know that was going to be the question, because we originally were going to try to do the entrances again, right? And Matt said, no, I have another idea. I kind of want to say, I feel like Def Rebel is my least favorite out of the producers they made.
Hell yeah, 100%.
Because Jim,
GOAT,
like he
legend.
was hitting for a long time, man. I mean, it's so many. The song, I gotta say that he's the best, right? If we do the switching to who's the best composers, 'cause I felt like his music really made those acts stand out, right? Like my kids today love the Big Boss Man's theme. They sing it, they know the words.
If you ever take a trip down to Cobb County, Georgia, that used to go hard right there, boy.
Like you can't really do that anymore, right? To a lot of these songs, like now. We're doing it with Cody's theme song, which is amazing. As a big Cody fan, I still have no idea what the words are.
Then you got to figure that out, dude. You got to figure that out. You wasn't there. Were you there at that AEW show when they performed it live? Did you come to Chicago for that one?
What show was it?
I can't remember. I just remember
I
it
can't
was
remember it
live. Yeah, they
I
did.
was
They
there?
did it live. I want to say it was one of the All Outs, maybe.
I kind of feel like I wasn't there. I remember seeing it on television. I don't remember being with you guys when I saw it.
Okay. Yeah, but
I like
Google those lyrics, buddy. You can't.
I like CFO too. Because you know who I really like, and I'm not sure why they didn't bring that young brother back. My man Russell and Flo. What's the young brother that heads up Russell and Flo? Skinny guy with the glasses.
Oh, my man. I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
his team is called Russell and Flo. You can find him on YouTube.
Talking about the rapper, right? The hip hop.
The rapper, yeah. He did Naomi's theme and Impact. He did a bunch of things.
I know who you're talking about.
Guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Damn, that sucks. I can't remember his name either.
Shout out to him. He still has one of his things. He made I like his flow and his style. I really like it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of energy behind his music.
He did a lot of NXT
flow, cadence.
He did the one thing without a cold, but he did some of their entrance or their takeover themes. Yeah.
He went by his first and last name. That's all I do remember. That he went by his first and last name.
Yeah. Rhodesia, I feel bad that we not putting this brother's name out on our little platform.
Oh, she's Googling right now.
Wrestle and Flow. Look it up on
I already see the fingers moving.
I think it starts with a J.
You're not see my fingers moving.
Yeah, I see them fingers moving.
I think it starts with a J.
This whole conversation does just speak to how important entrance music is to the characters. Like, even like I still have my top 20 wrestler list like in front of me, just so I always have it. But like my top 10: Austin, Rock, Hogan, Taker, Macho Man, Warrior, Triple H, Brock, Roman Reigns, and then Razor Ramon. They all have distinctive entrance music. The first chord hits, and you know out of those 10 who it is. And I think that has something to do with it too. I don't think like that their music sucked, and then it was just we were so much of a fan of them as a wrestler that we love those music. No, I think the music is really instrumental, partly instrumental.
Super.
Yeah, to themselves. So, what's his name, Rhodesia?
I think of my man, actually, as I'm thinking about it, I think I might like him the least, because I even like Ruckus over at AEW a little bit more than something. So I think a lot of songs are kind of generic that he brings out.
He's up and down too for me. Like Ruckus, like he hits more than he doesn't. But he had I don't know if they were overworking them because they were bringing in like 20 new wrestlers a week. But he had a span. Yeah, he had a span where they all sounded the same. And I'm like, all right, man, everybody can't be the but he's like really gotten better. Shout out to him too.
You know, one of my actually favorite entrances, but it goes back to when you said when that chord hit, boom, and it was Lita's music. I forgot all about that when Lita first came out. Oh, that was I feel it inside. But
is that Jim?
It has to be Jim.
Has to be
during that time frame. It has to be. But it's Josiah Williams.
The Hardys.
There it is.
Josiah. I said it was a J, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Josiah.
Shout to Josiah.
Hardys hit too back in the day, man. Especially when, I guess the Hardys still have the music.
Yeah.
Say they still got it. If you want to hear it, just tune in on Friday nights on Rampage, because they don't get time on Dynamites. Did you see Matt's contract's about to be up? I think the end of this month.
I saw somebody's
it'd be interesting to see. Yeah, like we know Jeff has added time, and we know that there was originally a plan for the Hardys and the Bucks to do something together with the Hardys being heel, but I would be good. I'm good.
Yeah, they can
retire. Love the Hardys. I would never disrespect the Hardys. They are legends in this business. If somebody told me to them they are their favorite tag team of all time, I'm not going to complain. They're not my favorite tag team of all time, but I think they absolutely deserve to be in the top 5, top 10 conversation probably. But I think I'm good now. I'm good on them. Like every time, a lot of times now when I see them, I just get not irritated, but you kind of just feel like, all right, man, what else is there to prove? Yeah. If you want to keep doing it, hey, great. But it's just not the same. When you were the high flyers and the cool kids, and then now like you're not that, and we can see you're laboring a little bit. And the creative hadn't been the best either. Like to me, they're a legacy act where we should see them 3-4 times a year in the ring, and that should be in major storylines, and that hasn't been the case in AEW. But I would not care to see them sign another 1 or 2 year deal with AEW.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, they've putting a lot of their decades into this business. You can retire. Go retire.
You know, if I was Tony, honestly, I'd give him another 6 months. Let them see how that heel run was supposed to play out. Let's see how that heel run was supposed to play out, and then give them that retirement match that they was talking about. They wanted to go on one last run. They haven't hit that run yet. Let them do their little heel thing for a minute, and then let them do the face turn and have their final match.
And that final match may be with that final match may be with Adam Copeland and Christian. So you may be onto something there. I can't see him getting a 6-month deal, but you probably got to do it for a year. It's probably got to be a 12-month deal.
Well, I was thinking about a trial, right? Because I felt like, as much as we say that we all over the place with this one right now, Sting had a great respected run.
They did,
right?
They did.
So, right, the Hardy Boys has not. Even though I did like Matt Hardy's big money Matt thing when he was a manager, I think that's he's suited for a manager type of role.
You talking about when he was with Ethan Page and Private Party?
Yeah, those guys, yeah.
That thing, yeah. That was cool. That was cool.
That I was probably stopped liking him right before that. Honestly, after he had that fall off the ladder on the concrete, the one that Reba, I'm sorry, I'm messing her name up, went off on AEW. Like, I think after that, maybe it was just a subconscious thing. Like, I just don't want to see Matt Russell anymore. And I think that's probably why I never got behind the Matt you was talking about, and then him right now. And then when Jeff had to go away for some time too, it was just like, no. Like, is this helping them or is this hurting them? These are legacy acts in the great way. Like, I remember watching them when I first started watching wrestling. And at this point, it's like watching Ric Flair in his final match, which I never watched. Because why? I know how this is about to go. I can't condone this.
You know what's horrible? If they were to leave AEW today and have another 90-day run at WWE, I bet no one would know the difference over on that side.
In terms of what?
They have no idea where they were, and they didn't care what happened to them. Like it'll be like a whole new day. Oh, the Hardys are back. Where they been at?
No, sure.
No, hold on, wait. No, Pat will let y'all know where they been at.
Man, oh my God. Protect Pat McAfee at all costs. When they showed Rhea and Buddy, and he said, but who is she with? And Michael Cole moved off super quick, and I died. Only Pat, man. But that's, once again, that's the fun part. And I'm so glad they're able to have fun on camera. We would have never gotten that. And if we did get that before, holy hell, he would have been fired, or, you know what I'm saying, had to do something, you know, that would have been demeaning.
Didn't Dom get married?
Week. Yes.
Yeah, this past weekend. Yep.
Got and then they booed him at his own way. God damn it.
At his own wedding, man. Anybody who thinks wrestling ain't real to like that, look at that. My man is getting married and is still getting heel heat at his own.
They must have invited Matt and Rhodesia. That's some shit y'all do.
Episode 115 of the TFW podcast. That's Freakin' Wrestling. I am your host, Matt, joined by these two goofballs, Rhodesia and Eshaun. Shout out to all the listeners and supporters of the podcast. We love you guys. As I always say, tell a friend, tell a family member. Best kept secret of wrestling podcast is this one right here you are listening to or watching on YouTube. Real quick, get all that stuff out of the way. YouTube, that's Freakin' Wrestling. X, that's F&W. Instagram, that's F&W. We're still working on TikTok. We're trying to figure that out. But according to the news, I guess they're voting tomorrow on if TikTok is going to be banned in the United States. So maybe we won't be working on TikTok. We'll give that update on Sunday. So we'll see how that plays out. Eshaun, I'm going to throw it to you, man. Let's talk about Raw. And there's probably a lot to get into. And I don't really have anything that I'm like super duper passionate about. But you may be with the Cody promo or some other things. So what spoke to you the most from Raw this past Monday?
Actually, I thought Raw was a nice show. I was just watching the show, and I thought overall, from a pacing perspective, it was a good show. And it just reminded me of years ago, watching Monday Night Raws, and like, I'm just hating show. I think you said labored. I'm laboring. I thought the shows were just a chore to get through. 3 hours. It became at one point where I felt like it was a job. Like I felt like I had to go to this job that I didn't enjoy, and like I owed it to somebody to actually sit there and watch these shows. And then at some point I realized I ain't owe nobody shit because ain't nobody paying me no monies and putting no food on my plate. So you know what? If it's not entertaining, I ain't gonna watch. But to watch this show last night, I'm like, oh, this is pretty good.
But to Rhodesia's point last pod, though, you kind of was able to separate yourself when AEW came around. Before AEW, we was locked into your point, man. I remember watching it and like, man, if I can get 2 good segments out of these 3 hours, all right, I feel pretty good. And I thought Monday's show was actually excellent. I did. I loved it. It was just nothing that like just really I was like, oh man, I can't wait to talk about this said thing on the podcast from the broadcast. Now there were some things that I do want to talk about from people's reactions. Like y'all gotta chill out on just expecting WWE to drop all their plans because you guys are excited about one particular person. Like
What
you
are
got
we
it off
talking
on Cody.
about now?
You got it off on Cody. Hey, I get it. The We Want Cody folks. I understand it. We've been telling that story for over a year. Cool. You're not going to get it off on Chad Gable. All right? You're not. This whole We Want Gable movement, and we love us some Chad Gable on this podcast. We love us some Chad Gable. We've been banging the horn for a year and a half about how that man has been underutilized and he's adding things to his character. He's got the joking now. He's doing all that kind of stuff. He's got the in-ring. He's got the personality. But can we not just remember last year when probably the same folks who were trying to start a We Want Gable movement was on the We Want Sami movement, and he's got to be the one to dethrone Roman Reigns, and it needs to be at WrestleMania, and Cody can sit on the sideline. But now all of a sudden, the same man who y'all clamored for last year gets a shot at the Intercontinental Championship against Gunther at WrestleMania, and now it's a problem. Now WWE don't listen to the fans, et cetera. Y'all got to relax on that. That is ridiculous. But I digress on that. But no, I love the show, man. I think I even tweeted during the show Monday, like, WWE is so good right now. Like, you just watch the show, and to your point, man, the pacing, the different camera angles, the production, the attention to detail that we haven't seen in a long time. We've seen it with the Triple H era. But things that, like, they're just doing, and that gets you thinking about, like, hey, do they realize they're doing it? I was talking to Rhodesia during the show, and I'm like, I don't know if they're going to tell this story, but Becky Lynch is getting destroyed week in and week out. She is getting her ass handed to her leading up to WrestleMania. And outside of Nia Jax at Elimination Chamber, Rhea's been she's got a really easy path to WrestleMania.
Haven't broken a nail.
Not a one. Out there looking as gorgeous as she can, out there doing Judgment Day business, but she ain't getting her hands dirty. She is not going to be tired going into Mania. And I just wonder, like, if they realize that is a potential story. I'm going to assume they probably do. Because then she got put through a table by Nia Jax after her match. But you just that kind of stuff.
What you call that shoulder tackle? I guess you would call that shoulder bump that Nia did to both of them. Oh my God. They flew and hit the ground. I'm surprised they didn't hurt themselves just from in the ground. The first thing I thought of, I was like, please, hopefully they both still had on their knee pads. Because as soon as they went flying, that's all I could think of. And they both did. Hopefully it was pulled up. But I'm like, that's a strong woman.
You know what, goddammit? This is why we have formats. Because we've been breaking formats. We're supposed to do a recap. I got them going by segments of importance. Y'all already done talked about the women's.
Number one. Hey,
we already talked about the women's. We already talked about the women's.
Hold on. No, I'm not gonna do that because I always tell y'all be snitching. So never mind.
And that's also part of it, right? Because Rhodesia made me lead this segment, and I said I don't do leading segments, baby. I do the color. I'm Bobby the Brain Heaton. I do the color. I don't lead the segments. And she doubled back and put my name on the damn docket again. And now Matt done took it away from me, and he done jumped all the way to the women's match. So let's go to the women's match. Let's talk about that. I had that on my rundown for us to talk about.
What was in your opinion, the biggest segment or the biggest thing to come out the show?
Oh no, I'll just go in order. You know, like I'm a creature of not necessarily of importance. I was just going to go from the segments in order as they happened that I thought was good or worth talking about. But let's go to the women though, real quick. So you know what? I like Becky. I think there's a lot to like about Becky. I think she has unbelievable charisma.
Let me get.
I think
Let me get this ready on the media board. All right, man. I'm listening.
I think she looks really, really good. I think she looks better than she has from a physical standpoint.
Sure. Okay.
But man, I just don't like her promos, man. She tries way too hard to sound clever and witty on that mic, and it's just there's like a sense of satisfaction on her face after she says, like, I guess her quote unquote witty lines. Like, right, she had a line about when I got the fans behind me, I'm good, and she kind of gave this look.
She did.
But when they hate, I'm great.
Ooh, let's go.
I'm like, she thought she hit a bar.
Let's go, Becky.
She thought when she wrote that down and pinned the paper, Becky. She was like, bars. Right?
I didn't heard enough, Becky.
I heard enough. Hey, it's like one of those things where you write something down, you're like, woo.
I'm gonna kill him with this one.
You understand what I'm saying? I got him. And then when she hit it, she was like, yeah. Like, right? Like, it was cool. And like, I feel like there's too many of her lines. She's trying to be too cute. Whereas a couple of years ago, it seemed that, I don't know, man. It's just a different flow, a different connection. I won't say she's not as hungry anymore, because a lot of things have changed for her. And now she legit is the man now, right? It's not, you ain't trying to be something. You're not trying to break out of the division. You have broken out of the division. You probably making more money now than you did when you was trying to come up. You know what I'm saying? Now you're married. Now you got a little baby at the house. It might be hard to find that same fire that you had as a character that you had a couple years ago. But when I just listen to her talk, it just don't hit me that well. When Rhea comes out there, it's not like, Rhea is trying to do bars. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if she even writes her own stuff or not, right? But she just comes out, she's so comfortable and confident in her own skin. And you can just see it. Like, every week she comes out there, she's just like taking it up another notch. And it's beautiful to see, because as soon as she came out and her music hit and she came out, I was like, God damn, there go Rhea.
Yep.
There go Rhea.
All eyes on her. But I did like Becky saying that line about, when people are with me, I'm this, but when the world is against me, I'm this. Because I wondered if they were going to speak about this. Becky's not going to be the most popular person in her match that she's going to be in at WrestleMania. We talked about it a few weeks ago, like, hey, this is going to be face versus face. And it's going to lean toward Rhea unless they try to make her be this dastardly heel that's going to try to get booed, which they haven't. Granted, they got another 4 weeks or whatever it is. So I actually really, really appreciated that she came out.
That's the thing, though. The crowd hasn't turned on her yet. Really, like they're still kind of there. They're not booing on her. They're not booing, like that sense of, hey, when they're against me, like that story hasn't played itself out on television yet. So it seems like you're trying to create a narrative that necessarily isn't there yet.
See, I don't know. Rhodesia, I'll ask you what you think. The reason why I thought it was perfect timing was just because whenever they're together in the ring, it is always more pro Rhea than it is Becky. And last night was, before she hit that line, that was also very clear when they were going back and forth. What did you pick up on, Rhodesia, with her saying that line? Do you feel like it was premature of her saying it, or did you understand where she was coming from when she hit it?
I just felt maybe it could have been premature, could have been I was a little confused and why she said that. So I was just probably just unclear of why she said that more than
it wasn't anything. As clear to you guys that it wasn't me then. So
yeah, because you listen to the definitely Rhea right now is hotter. Like, right? Rhea definitely is hotter, but they're cheering for Rhea more, but they're not booing Becky. She's just getting more cheers than her right now, right?
But is her character used to that? Is her character used to not being the most popular person as a face,
not
as
since
the
she's
man?
Been a man.
Face?
No,
but
not since she's been the man.
But that's the story that needs to be told, through the commentary, backstage, or something else, because that's not a story that has played out in front of us or even talked about yet. I mean, we see that Rhea is we see Rhea as just a megastar right now. Right. So, but at the same time, Becky still undeniably has a pulse on that fan base. So I just don't see. I feel like they're trying to force something that's not there just yet, and that's cool. It's just like lean into it. Just don't talk about it. Be about it. Let me see what that looks like. Like, right? Like, and is that really needed? Really right now, right? Because like you know, I know that Rhea is wildly popular, but she's also the heel pseudo leader of a heel faction, and that's not going to change anytime soon, to be honest with you. So do you really want to turn Becky for this moment? Despite the situation is, or we just keep riding that, you know, that Rhea is the she's a tweener in a lot of ways, right?
Well, there is going to be a new leader of the Judgment Day. His name is Andrade El Idolo.
He ain't gonna be the leader.
All right, he's gonna be a mastermind.
He ain't gonna be the leader.
Especially with Finn.
I think Rhea's still gonna be the leader.
Especially when Finn gave his sign of approval. He's like, hey, I've
we
been
go way
back for a while. We
go way back. That guy's legit. But to your point about Becky, so here's my thing on Becky. I love Becky's in-ring work. Mm-hmm. I don't think you can find another, hell, I'll be close to saying male or female, that can keep up with her cardio-wise in the ring. But she is so lean. She is so lean. And when I watch her work, like watching her against Liv, which that match was great. Whenever she goes to doing some power spots, I'm completely taken out of the match as soon as it happens.
But she's very strong, so she still can do it. But I had this issue last summer. It's hard for me to believe Becky can go after certain people because how small she is. And not to be funny on weight or anything like that, it makes me feel it's unbelievable. Like right now, I know it's going to be Rhea and Becky, but let's say, for instance, like if if Becky and Nia kept going on, that to me is just a mismatch to me. I can't believe that. I just can't.
And it's the leanness. It's because she's super, super lean. It has nothing to do with height or even just weight. Because when she was in that ring against Liv looked like a monster compared to Becky. And yeah, Liv's got some meat on her, but she is not a Rhea Ripley. You know what I'm saying? She is not a Zoe Stark. She's not one of those. So like, just for me watching, it takes me out of the element of, but man, you're not the man at that size. Like if she was working another gimmick, cool. But that's why I'm really going to be intrigued to see how they work this match with Rhea, because power spots is not going to work against Rhea, or it shouldn't anyway at WrestleMania.
You know, I don't hear people talk about that her leanness as much. Because to be honest with you, especially when you watch, you know, AEW, for instance, which is a lot of smaller guys wrestling bigger dudes, you know, like we don't have those same questions when we watch those matches. Like, right, we look at Brian Cage, who's like 3 times the size of half the guys he's going against. They're bumping around. They're slamming this guy. He's bumping around for him like they're the same size. I mean, that happens a lot in wrestling.
Yeah.
Especially in the men's division. I mean, you talk about Adam Cole. Adam Cole is my height and my weight. You know what I'm saying? Wrestling after these guys. And we don't say that.
But when he worked Keith Lee, just take Keith Lee in NXT. When he worked Keith Lee, he wasn't doing power moves.
But not only that, a lot of these big guys, they wrestle as if they're not big guys. Brian Cage is a primary example. That man can go in the ring. Like sometimes he wrestles and I'm like, dude, you do realize like you're like probably the biggest guy there in that locker room. You probably need to chill out. Ever. Like you probably need to chill. Okay, you and Luchasaurus, you probably just need to chill. But they wrestle like they're little guys. And again, not to say little in a bad way, but you wrestle. Well, yeah, like, I mean,
we're strictly only talking about the leanness. But and then take the opposite. When Seth and Drew had their stare down, I was like, you keep forgetting about just how tall Seth is. Mm-hmm. Because their height, there was a height difference. It wasn't. We know like Drew's a giant.
Seth's tall.
It wasn't that big of a difference when they were face to face.
I think he's 6'2", a legit, but he looks taller than 6'2".
Yeah, I probably would have had him at like 6'4" or something, just by looking at how they look there. But yeah, so we'll see how that, of course, plays out. But I enjoyed all the women's segments.
I would say there was 3 matches. if I can remember correctly.
Yeah, I think they
3
went back
women's
to back too, right? Didn't they go back to back to start the show?
Yep, because it was a tag with Candice LeRae, and I'm loving this heel side of her, and she's
That's
in the ring going at Maxxine, saying that's why they booing you. Like,
that's another one.
First off, thank you for, like, again, we've always said that Triple H was the internet fan guy. Like, he listens
definitely
to
has burner accounts all over
for
the place.
sure, for sure. Hopefully, he's following us at TFW, right? But absolutely, I'm happy that they're able to take that, hear what's in the internet, and then put it in the ring. And maybe not directly on the microphone, but we can hear you. That's why they booing you. Like, I thought that match was actually really fun too. I want to see if this is the Candice LeRae reset, because again, I know how she can go in the ring. She just never been, not even a B card player. What'd you call somebody who's less than a B card, mid card?
Yeah, I would say I've never heard of a B card player before.
Let's say what's below a mid card?
Curtain jerker. That's back in the day. We used to say curtain jerker back in the day. But now there's no such things. Now you want every show to start off high. Mm-hmm. So it's like you want to be the first one out there. Yeah.
So you're the second match. How about that? Or you're the match before the main event.
You ain't never been hyped on Candice LeRae since she's been on the main roster. But I do want to talk about what she said to Maxxine. When she talked about her dead brother. She talked about you suck.
No, that was Seth.
For you, when is personal real life issues off limits when it comes to pro wrestling?
It's not up to me. It's up to the person that's being said those things, right? So if she's okay with it being said, then I'm okay with it. You know, from a storyline perspective. This isn't Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn's WWE anymore. Mm-hmm. Like these guys, from what we hear, right? We're not there. We don't know, but from what we hear. There's excellent communication between the talent and the creative. And I'm sure that this stuff was all cleared between everyone who was involved, right? Because, you know, from what I've seen of Candice, because she does a lot of the video game stuff, she seems like a very nice and sweet lady. So I don't think that she would want to go out there and say things and make her feel uncomfortable, and Maxxine wasn't okay with, you know, it being brought up. I think if anything, I think it might kind of stall those fans that were, you know, booing her, right? Because, like, for me, if I don't like someone's work, I'm not gonna boo them. I'm not that type of dude. I'm gonna sit in my hands. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna boo them, right? But those people who are just booing this girl because she's not that great in the ring, like, all right, now that she's getting berated in the ring, you know, about her brother, and they're making a storyline of the whole thing. Or maybe I need to chill and let this woman grow before me. So. I'm okay with it. She's okay with it.
And that is what the answer should be for everybody. That was another thing that popped on social media Monday night and Tuesday was justice for Maxxine. I can't believe Candice LeRae is out here talking about her dead brother. That wasn't called for. And it's like, one, Christian Down the Dial has made a career over the last year and a half talking about people's dead daddies, and we all love it. But now, like, Maxxine is she's absolved of anything like that is personally talked about. I'm there now. If it comes out that she didn't sign off on it, right? If she comes out and she's on her Twitch or whatever she's gonna be on the next couple of days, and she's like, you know, guys, like, yeah, we did not even have a conversation about it. I was floored that she said that to me in the middle of the ring. Okay, now we can have a conversation. But until that point, working yourselves into a shoot, man. But that goes back to what I said before. This is a slippery slope, evidently, when it comes to Maxxine Dupri. And we know why it's a slippery slope, and we can move on after. Besides that, but come on, man, seriously,
let's move on.
No, I got to say real quick, you know, about those tag team matches. I did like the character stuff that they did. I thought it was kind of strange that they just, I mean, I guess try to add some realism to it, right? To where you just heard like the small audible from the camera mic, like right. I'm pretty sure probably the live crowd didn't know what the hell was going on.
Nope.
What you mean by the small audible? Maybe I'm not.
And that's fine.
What do you mean?
That whole situation. It was picked up on just the handheld camera. She didn't go grab a mic and say it.
Yeah,
so
she
didn't
grab a mic, right?
Yeah, right.
So it can be, because like if you're, you know, it wasn't loud, and you have to turn the TV up to actually hear it loudly, right? But you can hear it, and you can hear it clearly. But that's interesting. I love to see what they're going, because like I think Candice is a good wrestler. She just hasn't had a lot of character work. But I just gotta tell you guys, more so than having matches where I don't actually care about who wins and loses. Like, right? Because like for me, it doesn't matter if it's a 10-star match. If I don't care who wins at the end, that wins that match, I'm not invested in the winner, and it's not that great to me. I also don't like really long matches when I know that the Kabuki Warriors, I knew they were winning that match. So they have this long match against these two girls, God bless them. They have no shot of winning this match.
Mm-hmm.
I just have a hard time with those kinds of matches. Those are like, hey, them, I don't know what it was supposed to be, because I feel like, those two girls, Shayna and Zoe, they're going to go back to the back in the line, especially when it's in Mania season. I feel like that was a long time for them to be out there. I know you guys just said that you enjoyed it, but I just wonder what you guys thought about those matches where the people who in there aren't winning.
But you got to fill TV time, right? And then this is a wrestling show. I agree with you. I can still watch it, but like, that probably was the most I was not paying attention to the entire show, because to your point, well, and even more than that, nothing's going to happen, right? So like, it's not time for Shayna and Zoe to break up yet.
Absolutely.
Bailey's not coming out to interfere with Damage Control, or Jay's going to show up, or Bianca or Naomi, or whatever combination of that's going to be. So it's going to be just a straight up match that at some point Damage Control is going to cheat to win, and that's what happened. I think like when you combine all of that together, you're kind of like, all right, I can take it or leave it. But at the end of the day, it's still a wrestling program. We got to watch wrestling. We got to watch wrestling.
Yeah, for sure. It's a 3-hour show. But I kind of felt that with the Becky and Liv match. I felt like, if my memory is correct, it was 3 segments long. And
There's no long one.
Yeah, I think they went 2 full segs, and I think they had 3 commercials.
I was like, whoa, okay. But
at least with that one, there was some story elements behind it.
That was a good match.
How that played out.
That was a good match.
It was a good match, but it was still long. If we're talking about just length and time, it still was long. But we're talking about tag team matches. I need all of y'all to call up to the Breakfast Club and apologize to me, because out of all these people who on the Twitter who's mad about this and mad about that, not one person that I saw said they were mad about WWE announcements. Just because, like TK, he makes his announcements, special announcements. Right now, one person has said, y'all could have kept this announcement. Y'all thinking on the Twitter that we about to have a whole new tag team division or a whole new tag team belt, or just separating or something. Oh, we have an exciting announcement about the tag team division. Oh yeah, let's go.
I was excited.
Like, come on. So anybody who ever either hated on me because I love TK announcements, y'all need to be trashing this. Huh? I love TK.
You pop for TK announcements every single time.
All the time.
And then the one time he should have done an announcement to actually announce Mercedes tonight on Dynamite, he doesn't do it. Explain that. It's all y'all's fault. It's all y'all's fault.
No,
all y'all's fault.
This is the first time that WWE has done that in quite some time.
And it was trash. That was a trash ass
quite some time. But look, TK was doing it every damn week.
No, it doesn't matter.
For 2 months straight.
It was fun.
It wasn't fun.
To you.
Damn it, it wasn't no fun.
All of them was the announcement of the reality show. Boom, loved it. All of them.
And 2026 fans, Wembley Stadium seats, tickets will be on sale.
That was the one.
In 2026, they will go on sale, fans.
They wanted you to use your Christmas money to buy tickets before you waste that all money.
Yeah, in November, talking about a show we already know is happening. And
I got an early Christmas gift for you.
In a few weeks.
I'm telling you, I love TK. All of his announcements, all of them.
No.
Yeah.
So it's called. They're calling it a 6-pack ladder match.
Mm-hmm.
I do think the match is gonna be great, of course. And anytime you can get a ladder match on Mania, it's a win. But yeah, I was disappointed. I'm like, okay. I saw that tweet. I was like, all right, we're finally getting these belts separated. SmackDown's gonna have some titles. Raw gonna have some titles. They stand there together, and they was like, we got a monumental announcement. and he started talking about WrestleMania. I was like, oh, this ain't what I thought it was going to be.
Hey, Matt. Hey, no,
Got him.
Eshaun, and you, the viewers and the listeners. Matt's face. Imagine when you were a kid and you got Christmas presents, and you just knew that this Christmas present about to be it. And you open it up and it's clothes.
I was smiling and everything too, wasn't I?
Matt was ready when that announcement came. Ready.
I was standing up. I was like, here we go. Finally
he
done.
wouldn't even sit down. He's waiting.
I was cutting the promo for him.
He wouldn't even eat dinner yet because he couldn't even finish making his plate because he's like, oh, we about to get this announcement of the tag team splitting up. His face when he said it was like, I just got me a pair of socks for Christmas. He sat down and said, that's not what I thought.
I just got me an ROH announcement. I'll be damned. That's what I felt like.
Hey, they got one.
Yeah, everybody they can always get one, right? Now they can't do it again, but when are they going to split up these tag titles?
They shouldn't.
Like, why would they not?
Why would
right?
they? Why would they?
Are you saying that from a perspective you don't think there's enough tag teams to have 2 belts?
No, the division's kind of. I'm not gonna say it's trash. It's not hot, and there's not enough of them on each brand. And that's the particular amount. There's not enough of them on each show that's presented in the high level.
So hopefully we can get this announcement because they listen to the TFW pod, and then introduce a new singular belt for 2 singular belts for the tag team and give them inaugurated at WrestleMania.
That's what I'm waiting for.
That's what I'm hoping.
We don't need to red. First of all, those belts are ugly as hell.
Well, now compared to the new ones, absolutely, yeah, yep.
Well, they always were. Like I thought the blue and the red. I just think that's not championship to me. I guess maybe it's old school gold and black, baby. Now the white and gold, the ICs, like that was different. I was like, okay, I can roll with that. But these blue and red, that just wasn't it for me. Yeah, they definitely combine those championships.
And you would think they know that, right? As many shows we've been to, you don't see many tag team titles in the crowd.
No, I want that.
You see a ton of world titles. Yep. You see some IC belts. You'll never see the pennies.
No.
Hey, that's, you know what? I actually kind of liked the penny.
I thought both of them.
The penny and black.
The pennies and man.
I didn't mind it that much.
But the bronze, like now they're silver, but the bronze with like the same style.
Yeah, that's
it's nasty work.
So maybe that's that special announcement that they've omitted from their announcement that at the end of this ladder match, you're going to be awarded the new designed tag team championship. All the other championships been. But I'm just saying, all the other championship has been updated. Why not? Please.
They definitely. I think that's probably the longest tenured style right now of all the championships. Has to be those tag team titles. So everyone, everything else has got to make it over. Yeah,
except for maybe the U.S. title, maybe
the U.S.
But maybe. That wasn't like that was black and gold and it has the white and red in it. But it wasn't like the straps itself isn't like a red and blue. Like you said, it's not like regal enough. It's not.
Yeah, it's not like you look at all the other belts. But I'll tell you what I thought I was a bigger fan of than I am, and I didn't realize how much. Evidently, I don't like it until they did the video package and they showed all of this particular belt, and then they ended on the current belt. And I was like, man, that belt is ugly as hell. The Intercontinental title.
Wow.
When they show from back in the day, and they, of course, they did the video package for Gunther, which was tremendous. And they ended on how it looks now. I was like, ooh, that's falling off.
Wow. I see it. I'm looking at it now.
Wasn't a fan of it.
Ooh.
You're saying you don't like the look of the new championship.
But you thought you did.
Yeah, cause when I looked, I was like, it's cool. But then when I looked at like the old school IC, and then we went down the line, and then they ended on the current, I was like, oh, that doesn't live up.
Yeah. The current. I mean, it was the one in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
That was the 80s. I feel like that
early
was
90s.
The best one. Yeah.
Early 90s, and then Warriors started changing the actual the yellow and the white strap. Come on, man.
Yep. It was good then.
While Rhodesia looks at that, I said my piece on it, but I do want to get your guys' thoughts. The Sami Zayn, the Gauntlet match was another match that was incredible, and I loved it because they treated it like it was individual matches. They were calling them matches whenever somebody, took the pin.
Nice.
But what they gave Ricochet, 12, 14 minutes for the first pinfall? I mean, they really worked actual matches inside of the Gauntlets match. So just that I thought was awesome. But what's your guys' thoughts about Sami Zayn winning over Shorty G, Chad Gable?
I was gonna bring it back to that was my last topic to talk about on the Raw, but I guess it kind of makes sense with Sammy. You want to have a big match. Sami Zayn, Gunther, that sounds like a good match, and I think that Sammy worked really well in that match too, kind of playing that underdog type of character. But
Absolutely.
I think when you think about the fan today, especially with the WWE universe, WWE has said that, hey, you guys have a voice and it can be heard and we hear you. And the fans chose Chad like they chose Cody. They chose Sammy a couple years ago, but we got what we got. I think right now, he's done a good job in his role. I just think for whatever reason, I think some of the fans have chosen Chad. Now, I don't think it's a big of a wave like with Cody. I think that just might be a small group that kind of pushing it. But I think there's a lot of avenues they can go with Sammy as champion. I mean, as a contender. I can see him beating Gunther. I can see him winning.
Really?
I also can see him winning. I also can see him losing clean. I think like that match is now kind of like a question mark. I think that match can go either way. He could be the guy to win it, or he can be the guy to be another, note in history of successful title fences. And then we can get Chad Gable at WrestleMania Rewind or whatever they call that next match.
Backlash.
WrestleMania Backlash, whatever they call it. Like, right? He could be he can get another shot. He can go at it then and finally win the championship. But I think that with the Sammy win, we have more questions on what the outcome could be. But I think if Chad won, you have to think that Chad would have been the favorite to win that match.
I'm not going to disagree with that last sentence. You're right. If Chad won, then I know he's winning at Mania. But in my mind, there's no doubt that at WrestleMania, Sammy and Gunther will have the better match. So to me, this is on par of what I've been thinking, that it would be Sammy and Gunther at Mania. Sammy will lose, or Gunther will retain, however this looks, and that Gable will be the one to take it off of him. I don't believe right now, this moment, Sammy should be the one to take it off. I'm not going to say deserve, because that's not fair. Sammy's been busting his ass, but Sammy's not the one, I think, to take the belt off of Gunther. I think it is Gable. And I think right now what they're doing is Gable, it's almost like having like a WrestleMania match, and there's certain standards, and that I would trust Sammy in that position right now a little bit more than I would Gable. Not to take away from the fact that I feel Gable should win the championship, so it's almost like I'm talking on two sides of my neck. But I'm just talking about just for pure production match quality. I think Sammy and Gunther is going to have the better match, and then Gable will get it later.
See, but I don't even think they're going to have the better match. I do think it's going to be one of the matches of the weekend, Sammy and Gunther. But I think Chad and Gunther would have had that. I just think how we talked a little bit about Swerve, how like he needs a little bit more seasoning.
That's a good one
before
too,
he became world champion, and he's going to become world champion at Dynasty, which is something that's going to be awesome to see. Chad just needs a little bit more, right? They had him really heated up, and he lost to Gunther, and then they brought him down. They brought him all the way down, and they put him with Maxxine, and now we're doing the whole thing with Tozawa, and it's a joke, and we're doing all that, and they started heating him up a little bit more, to the point where everybody's clamoring, not just the hardcore of the hardcore fans, where everybody is clamoring for Chad to take that belt off of Gunther. We need more than just 3 weeks lead time heading into Mania.
I agree with that. I don't feel like, I feel like if Chad were to win championship, I think it'd be a good moment, but I feel like it'd be a step down from Gunther's reign. I think it'd be, I just don't see Chad there yet.
As of
Whereas
today,
Sammy,
as of this day.
as of today,
Right,
like
right.
I think we need longer than a couple weeks. They need to go ahead and tell a story of Chad's ascension back to, his next title defense. Like, they need to tell that story. and brick by brick to make him seem like he'll be a credible champion. At this point, I don't feel like he'll be a credible champion. I can see Sami winning, but I also could see Sami winning the IC title and then it being kind of the tag team titles with KO. Like he won, then it's kind of like then what? And
I don't know. Like now what?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Well, I do think now if we're talking peek behind the curtain inside wrestling, we know Chad's going to win the IC title. Just the way his trajectory is going. He came out and said, I swear to God, I'm taking the belt off of him.
He's looking a little bit different too.
Yeah, and so we know he's going to do it. I think Mania is the right time to do Sami and Gunther. And then just now what story does that tell for Sami when he loses to Gunther? Man, this WrestleMania card, like, so you got Roman and Cody on top. We know we got the tag match. We got Bayley and Io. We got Rhea and Becky. We got Seth and Drew. Sami and Gunther, the 6 ladder match. And then they didn't make it official, but he made his part known on Monday. Jey Uso wants a piece of his twins' ass now, Jimmy, for Mania. This card is shaping up to be tremendous. And we all knew it would be, but Bianca don't have a match yet officially. We can go down the line of who doesn't have a match, but let's talk a little bit about the brother versus brother, twin versus twin. I did think we would have gotten more of a challenge, right? Like, I think his entrance was about as long as his promo to set up the challenge.
I went to the bathroom, so this is a true story. I didn't see the challenge.
Yeah, man. I did love the line of him saying, it's me versus me. And that just has so much weight to it. This is my twin. Like, we are the same person for the most part, but we are not the same person. Absolutely love that. But it was quick. It was really, really, really quick. E, what did you think about the challenge or lack thereof of a challenge? You on mute, E. You on mute.
Nan and the boo boo.
Man, I don't remember putting myself on mute. That's what's going on.
You were about to sneeze, remember?
Oh yeah. And I still couldn't get it out. I feel like Jay's above the match with Jimmy. Because I feel like main event Jey Uso is a real thing. And I feel like Jimmy is mid-card Jimmy. I know they both want that match. I just feel like the characters right now, I feel like Jay has just... I think Jay should be the guy challenging Gunther and taking the IC championship and having his first singles reign. I think that would be a bigger match and moment for Jay. But I know they wanted to get to this match with Jay and Jimmy.
Yeah.
I like the setup. It was like, hey, I tried to get away. I went to a whole different brand to get away from y'all. Y'all keep coming back for me. We brought to end this. It's me versus me, Jay versus Jimmy on at WrestleMania. So, I like him talking himself into the match to get the thing that we know they're trying to work for all year. But for me, it's like, I'm down for it. I like Jay. I like Jimmy too. I just feel like, Jimmy is just mid-card comedy and Jay is main event wrestler.
I would also thought, and I had a look at the time, it's only 3.5 weeks until WrestleMania. Wow. Yeah. I thought it was 4 full weeks, but I just hope that something this big, Jimmy versus Jay, I remember, as Matt would say, they said that they would never go against each other. They will always be a tag team. So just a story that was so important. I just hope it doesn't get overshadowed by the tag match with Roman and Rock and the whole bloodline thing. So I just hope that they can get there, and I hope they can do this justice, because we already got that little bit in the beginning of the Rumble. They're first blowing each other, remember? And then Matt said just a moment ago, wanting each other's ass. No, you just said they want each other's ass.
Jay said on Raw, what did he say? I'm going to take a big yeet out of his ass or something like that. It was something to that effect.
So, hey, it's bomb brand what I've been saying. But anyways.
But saying that is better than saying blowing each other. So I can't believe you brought that back.
So listen, you know how bad that was? To me, I feel like I just hope that it is worth this. I don't want to call it a sacrifice, but it's worth this match. this is a storyline, brother versus brother, twin versus twin going against each other. Like I think back when Nikki and Brie went against each other, and I felt like there was enough build up for that. So I just hope it doesn't get overshadowed because this is a very important story.
I wish
just
you
in
would have
wrestling.
died in the womb.
So
Remember
my
that
point
line?
exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So I just hope it lives up to that because it is such an important story. This is the first time that they're going to come to blows. So I'm there for it. I do think that maybe Jay could have took it off of Gunther, but we're here. It's all bloodline, right? So I guess this is in game, so everybody's fighting.
And we know the match is going to be what it needs to be. Like, they're going to make sure they go out and kill it. They have every match they've ever been in as a tag team has been fantastic. You best believe the one-on-one match is going to be great. You brought up Bloodline, too. Our guy, Brandon James, chimed in on YouTube, and he said, I'm calling it now. Night 1, Rock pins Cody.
Hold on, slow down. Rock pins Cody. Okay.
Yep. Night 2, the Bloodline and the Rock cost Seth the World Heavyweight Championship.
Okay. Chaos. Got it.
And Cody beats Roman. I think the power struggle within the Bloodline between Rock and Roman is the story for this year. If Tonga does join the Bloodline, I think he's the Rock's right-hand man because of how close Rock and Haku are, which I agree. Finally, I think we're headed towards the High Chief Rock versus the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 41. I hope that's the case. They announced today that SummerSlam officially is going to be at Cleveland Browns Stadium. And I saw a lot of people, with their fantasy cards already for SummerSlam. And a lot of people were like, do Punk and Drew and do Rock and Roman. And for what I want, for as dialed in as The Rock has been, man, push that match as far as possible. We got to see how his body holds up, of course, in this tag match, but I don't want that at SummerSlam. I want the proper story to be told with Rock and Roman. And then hopefully maybe by that time, Roman, you can turn Roman face. You talked about it on the last pod, like, hey, what's next for Roman? That could be it.
Yeah. We'll see.
I do like that, though. Yep,
We got a lot of
I like
time.
that. Yep, I like that.
Mm-hmm. So something that I thought about, I wanted to ask you guys. So during Raw, Michael Cole had the sit-down interview with Cody Rhodes. And Michael Cole brought up about Seth Rollins never getting his rematch from the Rumble when he beat him via DQ. When are we getting Roman and Seth again?
I'm okay. No, never mind. Y'all gonna hate me. Again, I'm okay with Roman retaining. So then now Seth loses his belt over to Drew. Something happens with the chaos that I keep talking about. I think I said chaos like 10 times on the show last time. And then somehow Roman retains. And now we got Seth and Roman again for a quick timeline, 5 months, 4 months. And then now we can get us to Survivor Series, Madison Square Gardens, drop it to Cody.
That's a terrible idea.
Sounds great to me.
I'm glad you don't book these shows. Be like, Vince, I have to stop watching again. I don't honestly care if I ever see those guys wrestle enough. I mean, we can go on the network and Peacock and we can see them
That's
wrestle
crazy,
at
though.
least 20 something times, right? I mean, but like once the it may be another 6 to 8 months to a year when the roles reverse, when Seth is heel and Roman is a face again, and the dynamic changes. Maybe it might be put some make it a newer dynamic. But I'm good on it.
But does that make sense? Now, and the reason why I wanted to ask you guys this question, because Rhodesia, you are kind of on the path that I'm thinking about. Yes, we are going to assume Cody beats Roman at Mania. We've been under that assumption since they made this flip.
They did the pivot.
And it was, it was supposed to have been Rock and Roman. And they switched it to Roman and Cody. Then we don't need Seth and Roman anymore because Roman has already lost the title. It doesn't have the same gravitas to it.
Nope.
When Michael Cole asked Cody that on Monday, and I'm guessing part of that was to still try to create this, to me, which is a ridiculous sense of doubt that Seth was going to turn on Cody. I think the only way Seth turns on Cody is if, of course, Seth loses his title, and then that still doesn't make sense. Whatever. We can talk through that in a couple weeks when maybe we'll do like outlandish WrestleMania predictions. But for him to say that, and then you think about it and say, man, he's right. The only person who has beaten Roman Reigns in a World Heavyweight Championship match in these last 4 years or 3.5 years has been Seth Rollins. When does Seth get his get back? Because if Roman drops the title to Cody, that money match is no longer a money match for the story that we're on.
And especially because Michael Cole
never got my rematch.
Yeah, he brought that up. Again, everything that is bloodline related is said intentionally. So if Michael Cole brought that up, again, if it's just a purely placed doubt in Cody's mind, it still is a reason why they said that. And like you said, there is a story. There's something that needs to still be settled between the two of them. And exactly
WWE loves y'all because y'all always fall for this kind of stuff. Like, so you mean to tell me he hasn't gotten his match in all these years for Michael Cole to bring it up in this moment to take away from the hottest babyface in the company in a matter of years? The hottest babyface ain't Seth, and it ain't gonna be Seth if Cody were to lose. Like, they're not doing any of this to get a Roman Seth match for a championship. We don't want to see that.
So then why would he bring it up then?
We just talked about
that.
For the simple fact, see, this is what we do as fans. We overcomplicate what we hear.
I just want you to answer the question.
Matt answered the question.
No, simply, I want you, Eshaun, to answer the question. Why would
I
they
will
bring that up?
If you stop interrupting me, young lady. Matt answered the question simply. It was to create doubt. He's trying to say that why are you doing this? Seth probably still feels he has stakes to the claim, and he's going to turn his back on you. That's all that segment was about. It just creates some more doubt between the tag team. They create more animosity because there's still animosity there. Simple thing. It's not. They're not trying to go back to a match that's been cold to take away from a match that's hot.
Yeah, and I don't think
take away from it immediately. This is a story that they're going to tell to plant a seed for the future.
And I don't think that's the smart thing to do. I don't think you miss on Cody having his chance again this Mania for a Seth Rollins Roman Reigns match. No,
that's cold.
We were going to do it,
and
should have been for Rock and Roman if we were going to do it. So I don't think that. Because
the Roman right now, the whole thing he's doing it's been done. We need to move on to new and different story.
But you keep
that's
saying
not new
that.
And
but
different.
hold on,
That's the same.
okay. So I can agree to agree that right now the story should be finalized. The culmination of Cody's story should happen in Mania. I'm willing to accept that, even though I still want Hogan races record to be broken. But I'm willing to accept that. But you keep saying that how Seth and Roman is just blood to you. They have not fought each other when they have been at the height of their career. He's been the tribal chief. He has been the untouchable big dog, top dog, high chief.
They have fought.
No, not in the last year. That's the point I'm saying.
Roman's been colder in the past year, and when Roman was hot, they fought like twice.
Yeah, but I'm talking about right now.
Well, last time they fought was the Royal Rumble we were all at in St. Louis. Seth won,
which was 21, right? January 21. Yep. That's 3 plus years ago.
And they've never touched again. My question was more of from of course, a future booking perspective, but maybe even more so, a little bit of an indictment on that's a miss. That was a story that they could have told before we got to now it's time for Cody to take the belt off of Roman.
I think we should go back a couple of episodes. We said we didn't want to see them wrestle again. They have wrestled so many times. They have became.
You said that. I've never said that.
Maybe not.
I've always said that.
Maybe not. I know you like Jeff Jarrett in House of Horror matches. I get it. You probably didn't. But I think that the vast majority.
I think the
vast majority of fans.
I said the only thing that I liked about that match was the blood paint that they used.
Because you said you liked everything about it.
You said you enjoyed it. No, you was giggling. You had the biggest smile.
Who came out and they did something like with I forgot what they did, like a guitar or something. I didn't care for that. I was like, oh,
you were popping all over it, and then they combine that with a Tony Khan special announcement, and you was just like, this is the best night of my life.
Yeah, so it makes sense that maybe you liked it, but I think if we go on Peacock right now, we can pull up probably 100 matches they've had over the past 6 or 7 years.
But listen,
we don't need to see it again.
But we talking about 3+ years ago. So you sitting up here talking about all you care. Well, you care a lot about a story about a match.
We
have a story that's lasted, has been over. What?
So
they break up. So you have a story that's long enough to actually have, but you don't want the story now.
We haven't talked about. We haven't talked about. No, we haven't.
You can't appreciate great matches, but you don't want a story. Now that we have a story, oh no, I don't want to see them. They haven't wrestled in 3+ years.
Well, no,
Rhodesia, your story will take away from the hot stories going on right now.
Listen,
Michael Cole
Cody
said
should win. I said that I was willing to accept. I said I agreed to agree.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cody should win the
take
Mania.
Cody out of this.
Okay.
I'm only talking about
Okay.
Roman and Seth. And Seth is the only.
I get what you're saying. Answer this for me real quick.
Hold on a second. He's the only check mark that Roman hasn't been able to cross off yet.
He's beat the man already. Go back and look.
No,
he's beat him
not
already.
as Universal Champion, man.
Yes, he
We're
has.
talking
Go
about
back
this.
and look.
Move
He's
on.
beat him already.
But
It doesn't matter if
Cody's
Universal
crybaby.
Champion or the
Cody
Smallville
crybaby.
champion.
But it
He's
does
beat him
matter.
already.
No,
He's
it
beat him
does
1,000 times. Michael Cole mentions this thing on one promo. We ain't talked about them having a rematch in years. Now all of a sudden Michael brings up now it's the best potential match that's the miss. No, come on, guys.
Cody
No.
I don't. Okay, we can move on because I don't think you really want to listen. I think you just want to. You're stuck on that part of just saying that. But if
No,
you were listening-
I'm stuck on that. Nobody wants to see that match other than you guys in this moment right now. That's all.
And I didn't say that needs to be
I
main
didn't
event of
say
night
that
3
either.
at WrestleMania. I
What
didn't
I
say they
said-
need to change the story. Speaking of changing the story, did y'all know that the original plan when they were going to do Rock and Roman was to have Cody Rhodes get injured? Like he's going to get jumped like
You
backstage
mean
or
like
something?
Oh, I thought you would say like how Punk is injured, but he's going to show
Yeah,
up
no,
in 2
like
weeks.
that was the original plan was him to get taken out, so he couldn't take on Roman, and then The Rock was going to swoop in and save the day. I'm glad they didn't do that. That may have went
yeah.
off as bad as the handshake.
I hear that.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, no, I'm only saying that to say that's the only story that they haven't. Everything else, Roman's done everything else that he needs to do as Universal Champion, but beat the guy who has been connected to him ever since he's been in WWE, and they kind of have not. Because like now, when Roman does lose the title to Cody, there is no money in that match. Okay, so all right, now you beat Roman. Oh, Cody beat Roman too. The money, of course, is in the chase of I'm going to be the one that beat you that nobody else beat you.
No, I understand. I think he's already beat him. I think we need to go back and revisit, do the Google. They've had a couple of fights, and
Yeah,
even
the last one,
it
man,
wasn't the
last one was
tribal
Rumble.
chief. They've had quite a few matches, and I think we got to the point to where like, okay, they need to kind of separate for a little bit. That's why they haven't touched.
That was 3+ years ago.
But we can keep moving.
Brock Lesnar. So he was taken off of WWE.com, and I think I brought up on Sunday's pod that he was brought back. Now this is from the Observer, and Dave Meltzer is probably batting about 1 out of 10. So take it for a grain of salt, I guess. But Brian Alvarez says in the last few days there have been moves regarding Brock Lesnar. Everybody we talked to said this is accurate. There are movements to bring him back. I should add regarding Brock, I'm not saying he's going to be back. I have no idea if he's going to be back. I wouldn't bring him back, but I can tell you there have been inquiries made, and what that means, we will wait and see. It seems like a bad idea to me. Put it that way. As of right now, we're just going to assume because nothing has come out to even say his name. We just put 2 and 2 together that, oh, they're talking about Brock Lesnar in that lawsuit. Never said he actually had sex with the woman. Would you ever bring Brock Lesnar back with the information we have right now?
Ever is a long time. So if I have to answer yes or no with what we have now, the answer would be, as a business person, yes. But not personally. But again, forever is a long time. We know you remove 10 years from now, put him into a Hall of Fame, it might happen.
Mhm.
The only person I don't think that they've done right, and I don't even think it's her fault, was China. Other than that, I think everybody else has made men's with the WWE.
Not Benoit.
Okay. Well, yeah. We've already stroked.
They put China in with DX though.
Yeah, but come on, she's a motherfucking monster.
Yeah, I think she needs to go in by herself.
Yeah.
She needs to. Would you touch Brock? You bringing him back?
I don't know all the particulars about the situation. I just know that, and I know what we've heard and that he was named, but I don't know if he's been found guilty either way of what he's done or, let's say he was going to hook up with this girl, whatever. I don't know if maybe he thought it was consensual or I don't know. I have no idea. Like, I don't have all the information in front of me, so I don't know what he did or didn't do, what was said or wasn't said. So I don't, you know, I was kind of surprised I was kind of surprised they took him off that quick.
And that's the thing. None of us know. Like, all we know is if you look at the text messages, we are to assume that Vince said, hey, I put in also too, Brock, if you want a piece of her, I think it's something about maybe putting in a contract, or that's part of him coming back. It's part of a negotiation tool, was that, hey, if you resign, you can have your way with her, or whatever the case may be. Not that it happened.
Was that in the text?
Yeah. It was something to the effect of, or in the lawsuit, I think, she said that there was a ex-UFC champion who was in contract negotiations, and I was offered up to him. Not that it happened, but I was offered up to him. So when they pulled him and everything, I'm thinking like, okay, that's the smart move to do. I still think it's probably not the best to bring him back. And it could just be like, hey, man, sorry, you're casualty of war, because you don't need Brock Lesnar. Like, if you bring him back and say by some chance he did do something, then you should have just kept that door closed. But I'm going to clear his
name first.
But if they're talking like this, maybe they found something out that he didn't do anything with her or whatnot. I just thought that was interesting when he came back on .com under the roster page, and then you hear Alvarez and Meltzer kind of talk about it. Now, granted, you take that paragraph, they really didn't say anything because he says they've talked about it, and I'm not saying he'll be back, but I wouldn't do it. So there's really nothing there, but there's something there. That's all.
Even though I don't care for Brock at all, again, as long as nothing else comes out, he deserves to go in the Hall of Fame. And that's coming from me. As long as nothing else comes out from this moment, and not today, probably not in the next 5 years, but you can't deny it. He was the youngest heavyweight champion in WWE.
Oh, I mean, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer if it's nothing nasty about him.
Yeah,
that ain't even debatable. And the debate is if something nasty about him. Yeah,
if he's implicated in all of this, then
you don't. But
that's nasty business. That nasty business. E, you got anything else from Raw?
No, we covered it all.
Business.
Outside of Cody's amazing promo.
You excited? Oh no, we can hit that because I have a question for you about that promo. So Rhodesia, I know where you're going with Big Business. Hold on. Okay, so let's talk about Cody's promo because I do have a question.
Okay.
What's the question?
Oh no, well, you say you want to talk about his amazing promo. So what was amazing to you about the promo?
I just thought it was just a strong promo from Cody. Exactly what he needed. He needed to have one of those mission statement, strong promos. Because, oftentimes, I think he comes off like kind of turning the other shoulder, kind of, you know what? I'm going to be the better character person in the moment. I thought this was a nice mission statement to say why he's doing it, kind of reconfirm why he's here, what it means to him, and just come out just really strong. So I thought it was a good promo. He did the little Ric Flair cry thing that he's learned how to do in the past couple of years. I'm to add the actual emotion and dynamic to it. I thought this was a really strong outgoing showing for him.
Another great white meat babyface promo from him. Now, if I was not a Cody fan and I wanted to find a way to hate him, I would tie right into that crying part and just say your fans are crybabies and you're a crybaby too. Look at you. You out here crying and you stop on command to finish your end of your promo. I thought the promo, to your point, was exactly what he needed to do. Now, I don't know how many, because it almost felt like a go home promo to me.
It felt like
the show is Sunday. No, we got 3 more weeks, but that was his go home promo, right? Not a promo against Roman Reigns go home, not a promo about The Rock go home. That was like, hey, this is where I'm at with everything. So I thought him and Cole did a great job with it. But yeah, I just wonder what you thought about it, because it was kind of divisive looking online. Vast majority was all about it. But I did see some people kind of like,
is it because it's crying?
Yeah, because they're like, all right, how many times you going to be out here crying every time like you get emotional?
Oh, he got it from Ric Flair. Mm-hmm. Because Ric Flair always started crying all the time.
I actually and I told Matt this after the promo. I was like, wow, that was a really great promo. So I really love, and I just love all of it. I love that they were in-ring interview. Michael Cole is the GOAT. So just for me, I thought that was actually, he knocked it out of the park. And anytime you can put over a beautiful black woman in National Women's Month, hey, I'm down for it. But again, he must be watching the internet too, because he even said, I'm finishing the story for everybody. It's no longer just me going against Roman. And that's kind of some of the words I wanted to hear from Cody. And he said it, and it was passionate. Again, you just got to take his passion with some tears. But I guess we take Moxley with blood, so there you go.
And he does the blood. Now he's got the tears. I think one of the things I loved so much about the promo too, and this is when it actually might have been when I tweeted out just how good Raw is. Like, there is more than just what happens in these arenas. Like, he made a comment about something. He said something about podcasts. And it was something about like, I know these podcasts would just say blah, blah, blah. Once again, that would have never been a thing years ago, right? If it was like, if it ain't happening in this building, in this arena right now, like, it ain't even a thing. So just to be able to see like the Candice LeRae piece, like knowing they're turning this into a storyline because of that internet footage of Maxxine getting booed. And then to hear Cody, who is the biggest face, talking about something outside of the four walls of the WWE, I just thought was really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead, Rhodesia, and talk about Big Business tonight.
In TD Bank Arena. So this is like I wanted to come on here and just like, I'm so happy to be talking about Big Business and blah, blah, blah. Then I'm like, what if people listen, they really feel like I'm a complete mark for AEW? And I'm like, well, I don't care. I guess that could be my cool little gimmick. And I will do it gladly because I absolutely love AEW Big Business. The card itself, we're about to go over it. Most of the card I can probably leave, but I would say that it does have a big feel to it. It does feel like it is pay-per-view quality in some of the matches that we get. And I'm really excited about one match in particular that this got to be this jumping off point. So I guess to get into it, the only thing I could find out is that right now they have about 7,000 seats sold. That was a couple days ago. I haven't been able to find anything new, and there's still plenty of seats left, which to me, I know you mentioned on the Sunday show that if you would have announced Mercedes, that should have been a sellout. We don't really necessarily know, but that part is a bit surprising for me that we couldn't get even over 10K. To get in there.
They're at 7,500 as of this morning.
Okay.
They just opened up 2 upper deck sections. They opened up 2 lower deck sections yesterday, sold out immediately for the most part.
Okay.
But they're only scaled for, I think, 8,300, 8,400.
Okay, so I guess they're really close then. So
they're close to what they're scaled to, but like I said, last time they were there, they did over 9,000 for Blood and Guts. And I guess what I just don't understand is you have given every hint in the world that Mercedes is going to be at this show. Every hint for people who are really paying attention. If you were to probably do a survey of just all wrestling fans and say, hey, do you know Mercedes is debuting tonight on AEW Dynamite? I think the vast majority, I think it will be about 70-30 that says, no, I don't know, to 30% saying yes.
So you
wrestling
think
fans, not AEW fans, wrestling fans.
Wow.
I think it's because how would you know?
Internet.
You know what I'm
but
saying?
You're right.
Like,
if you're not on the internet, then you wouldn't.
And then like when Punk, of course, he hit the best in the line world when Punk came. Darby Allin did. Nobody else calls him that. And it's in Chicago. Chicago is known for being a CM Punk town. Boston is not known for being a Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné town, right? So then if you're not looking at the show, promo, you don't see the Boston, you don't see any of that kind of stuff. So like, I would love to just know.
And here, I don't really see it. I mean, I guess I see
no. So hopefully somebody asks him. Hopefully it comes up. Like, why did you not announce it beforehand? Because like even so, like Rhodesia, you got the women's match in front of you. It's Riho against Willow, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now the smart money would be you could have Mercedes debut during that match or at the end of that match. You got Willow in there, who was the last person who she wrestled that hurt her.
Oh, good point.
But even that, is that worth not saying Mercedes is going to be there?
Especially if you did the boss sign, was that almost a month ago now, 3-4 weeks ago now?
Mm-hmm.
If you did that, then you might as well, especially if you didn't completely sell out. To me, I have no marketing degree, but me just being common sense, I would think that you would have done that.
Especially, maybe you pivot when you see, okay, maybe they didn't pick up on like a poster. Yep. Let's go ahead and come out and say, all right, Mercedes is going to be in Boston next week. So that's the one I'm kind of just a little like I'm a little disappointed in.
I think you're the nail on the head. I think they're trying to do what they did with Punk. I mean, and they've done it in the exact same way. Yeah, I think that audience knows. I think that AEW audience, the same people that knew that Punk was coming to Chicago, I think that same audience knows that she's coming to Boston. And by the way, that arena sits 20,000, so they're scaling for less than half of that.
Yeah, I mean that's that's where the Celtics play.
Yeah. So,
well, I mean, which I did in a positive way. Yeah, I mean it's still okay.
In positive,
right?
that's their biggest audience to date for this year
for Dynamite,
right? So,
right? Yeah. But it's like
that's still by a delta. By a delta, that's their biggest.
That's just once again, that's just one of those where it's like because we want them to do so well. She should not be debuting in front of anything less than 9,000 fans.
Hello.
And that show is packed. And it's like maybe if you announce it, you don't even have to pack the show like that. Now you are going to have more eyeballs on it, so the ratings are going to be really indicative. And we don't talk a ton about ratings. We'll bring them up every now and then, but hopefully they put on that great show and then people watching like, you know what? All right, we haven't watched AEW in a long time. Maybe since Punk left, we'll give it a shot. All right, it looks pretty cool. That's my hope for them.
Well, looking at this card, there's one match that I really don't give two craps about. Couldn't care less. And it's going to be the Hook and Jericho versus the Gates of Agony. I actually haven't been able to follow kind of their storyline. It almost feels like it just happened or in the last week and a half. But I have no interest at all in that match. And do I even think it's going to be a good match? I don't know if I can say that myself either. Any thoughts?
They haven't really built up the Gates of Agony. And like I said, they kind of threw Jericho and Hook together because Sammy's on suspension, right? You know, Jericho was supposed to be teaming with Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega went out with diverticulitis.
Yeah.
So, you know, he's been kind of trying to find a tag team partner ever since, though. And, you know, that's what happens when you don't build people properly because they like Gates of Agony could be a really good team for them. But
they look good.
Every time I see them, I think they lose. So
I think I've seen them win once. And now, granted, I don't watch ROH. I'm sure they probably got a hell of a ROH record. But
nobody's watching that.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, yeah, that match is whatever. I don't care about that. But they got some bangers on this show. Who we got? We got Wardlow and Joel on top, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you would imagine because this is the only championship that's being defended tonight. But they actually have Darby and Jay White.
So you got Darby and Jay White, which is gonna be a great match.
And to me, that was the one I said I'm the most interested in because this has to be the jumping off point for Jay White. When he first came to AEW, we were like, this guy again is your big signing, and I'm not
much.
And what we get is the shoot 'em up, bang bang. Acclaim group. I don't even know the name of the group. I'm sorry, because I am a huge AEW fan. But he's a joke to me now. But hopefully, after this match, it is going to kind of set him apart again and kind of shoot him up. You're saying you don't think that's going to happen?
No, they still have the trios titles, so that's not happening.
The ROH trios champions is what they are.
Dang.
Yep, so
and ROH trios champions.
We stuck with this for a little bit, and we know this is going to end with them turning but it's still, it's still not. But he looks like $1 million every time he comes out there. I just look at him just like, man. I know there's only so many spots, but God,
I like the Jay White promo he had with Darby the other week. I like that promo that they had and he did against him. I just thought to myself like, damn. I feel like, man, he's not positioned properly, man. He should be so much higher on the card than he is. If somebody, I know they're married to this United Kingdom, whatever the hell it is. I don't care.
Undisputed Kingdom.
Yeah.
I know they're married to that. But you ask me who would be a better person to unseat OC, I would say Jay White. He can talk on the mic. He's charismatic. He can go. He can look the part. Roddy just comes like a little robot.
Mm-hmm.
That's the little Roddy, but
we know that's the bigger story is the United or Undisputed Kingdom with the belts and where MJF comes in at. and things of that
And look
nature.
how and look how they booked the ROH Tag Team Champions, right? Again, ROH Tag Team Champions. Like Swerve single-handedly whooped them dudes' ass the other day. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get the booking of this group. Like, the bigger picture is I don't see them booking them in the bigger picture that it's impactful.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just not feeling it. But when we talked about Mercedes and where she debuts, I kind of don't want to see her debut at all during that Willow and Riho match, to be honest with you. I think that when you have a big star like her, because she has to be between Edge and her, like the second biggest signing they've had, right? And you need to treat her as such. I remember back in the day, like, you know, Rhodesia was. I don't think Rhodesia was alive. But you know, when Chris Jericho,
we got a 1 hour and 25 minutes in until he did that.
Well, you're young, you know. So like,
how did he debut on AEW?
He at the pay per view.
Remember? I know, but
pay per view.
Did he come out at the end of like the Christian match?
I think so.
Yeah, he's Cam. I don't think
because Christian was. I felt like Christian was outside the apron when he debuted.
I can't remember. Maybe. I mean, because
I felt like Tony Schiavone just announced him or something like that.
Okay. All right.
Okay. He was the change.
Go ahead.
But I was gonna say, like, you remember WWE when Chris Jericho debuted, like, right? He debuted
with the clock
against The Rock.
He sure did.
Oh boy.
He had that awesome entrance, right? That we haven't seen. The awesome, amazing entrance with the clock, the countdown, boom. He comes out there and he's in a promo battle immediately with one of the hottest acts in the entire business. Like, right? That's what you do when you're trying to get somebody hot. You put them with somebody else that's hot. Mm-hmm. Or you let her go out there and do her thing herself. I think her going out there and interacting with Willow and Riho doesn't do anything for her. I think that might do something for those girls potentially, but I don't think that does anything for her. And it should be all about her. This entire show is named after her. It's in her hometown. They should be putting her in a position to where she's the brightest star that's shining, and they need to put the things around her that enhance that. And I don't think Riho and Willow do that.
So then, does she start the show? If you're booking that show, does she start just cold open as soon as the pyro hits and music stops? Her music.
I'm starting
hits?
the show with her.
Okay, so you start the show with her.
I'm starting the show. But what has the highest quarter ratings typically, right? People tune in and see what's going on in the show. I think you go ahead and you start the show with Tony Khan. I don't know. Don't put Tony Khan there. Have Tony Schiavone. Have Tony Schiavone say, "Hey, we're kicking off this show. We're introducing the hottest free agent in the world," and they just let that music play.
Okay.
Let the music play. Hit the Titantron. Her come out there. She cut her promo. She do her thing. Look at the way she look.
Rhodesia, if you had the pin, how are you debuting her tonight?
I was gonna say end it, but I don't mind starting the show with her. For sure. I would agree that I want her separate from any matches. So I want her to be just completely have a segment all by herself. So if it's to start the show, great, wonderful. If you got people tuning in because it's big business and boom, you got them there and keep them for the rest of the show, I'm fine with that. Or you end the show with it. That would be more predictable though if it's at the end of the show, because then I'm looking, all the matches are over and I know she has to come out. I'm looking at the time. We still got 10 minutes to go, 5 minutes to go, but it wouldn't be as much of a surprise at that point. But she needs it separate from anything else. But I do want to talk about when Adam Copeland arrived. It was Sting about to get a concerto by Christian, an exposed mat, and that is when he came in.
And because we didn't know for sure he was coming, so that was the shock, right?
Mm-hmm, right before the
concerto. Because we heard the music. Yep, okay.
Well, they did announce that Tony Khan said that the
new era
AEW is going to change. New era.
Right? New era.
It was a new era.
Which
makes sense because like it wasn't the Rated R era. It was a new era.
Yeah.
So then outside of Britt Baker,
mm-hmm.
what other woman is close to, not that I don't even want to say the star power, but is close to sharing a ring with Mercedes right now that you would look at it and say, okay, this is almost even?
Tony
Storm?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going Tony first. I'm saving. I'm saving that meal. For
No.
another
But
day.
his question was, who do you feel would be kind of in
Yeah,
comparison?
like,
They're not going to be
outside
her,
of Britt Baker.
but close.
Outside of
to
Britt.
her.
Who else?
Why not
can
Britt?
match- No, I'm saying outside of her because we know Britt is on the level of Mercedes, right? Like, say
Yeah, why not go with her right now though?
I wasn't even talking about first feud. I was just saying if you look at that roster. And
Oh, you
like,
talking
say
about this in the
Mercedes-
future?
Yeah, I'm saying like say if Mercedes debuts, Britt Baker's music hits, the place is going to erupt. Is there anybody else's music that could hit when Mercedes in the ring that the place would absolutely erupt? Maybe outside of Jamie Hayter for the AEW.
Right,
fan
because
base.
she's been gone. So that's pretty
that'd
much
be
it.
the AEW
Is there
fan base.
anybody else?
Well, no, that goes back to what I was saying originally. You know, like for her, she'll be the biggest star of the division outside of, you know, I think Britt and Tony will be right after that, right? But on a little bit of a lower tier. I think the rest of the women just, you know, right now they're not on that level of her. Jamie is more of a, she's more of a, like she's our favorite. Like we like her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, right. I just don't think like, you know, when you're looking at like the casual audience that doesn't necessarily watch AEW, but they want to see what Mercedes is doing. I don't know if, you know, but hell, they might not even know who,
right?
They might not even know who Britt Baker is, to be honest with you.
But she's probably the only one.
Yeah.
So so I asked you guys that because I was interested to see what you thought, but also too they have to solve for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if nobody is on her level, then maybe you do bring her in with Willow and Riho. If like there's nobody else on her level, because that is who her competition is going to be. Your girl Serena Deeb cut a promo a couple weeks ago that really looked like she was talking to Mercedes. Did you catch that promo?
No, I missed
I
it.
did not.
I think it was on Collision. And it had the tones of if you think you're the best. You know, it was one of them kind of promos. So I'm like, okay, so if they start with Serena Deeb, that is absolutely not close to name value. Yes, the match is going to be tremendous, but from a name value perspective, okay, that's not there.
It'll be Hulk Hogan. It'll be Hulk Hogan back in the 80s. Be Hulk Hogan back in the 80s.
I was like,
carrying
stop.
the division.
You said Hulk Hogan's going to debut on AEW? Dude, I was about to clock out of this whole show. I'm going to say, you know what? I'm over it. I'm done with wrestling at that point.
No, I mean, she'll be, people be showing up to see Mercedes. It'll be, girl, get your purse. Mercedes is coming
there
in
it is.
town.
Yep.
There it is. All right, Rhodesia, what else you got?
I guess outside of that, we were top of the women's match. We have the new formed Elite with Okada versus Penta, Eddie Kingston, and Pac. I don't know how I feel about this match. I know we're going to have some good wrestling here. I'm just interested to see how all this plays out and then what implication comes after that. But I know it's going to be a good match, so I'm interested to watch it. And then just the main event of the World Championship, we have Samoa Joe and Wardlow. What are we doing here, y'all? I know we've talked about this a couple episodes ago, but now that we're here, we know Swerve is a little bit out of the picture now. What's happening? Are we still going to say that
he is winning the title at Dynasty at the end of April?
Was it April 21st? I think.
Yeah, whatever it is. So I said it. I'll say it again. The original promo from Adam Cole after World's End was everything that's happened so far. ROH tag titles. Roddy has belt, and he said Wardlow is going to win the championship and hand it over to me. Eshaun, I know you were so excited when he said that, and you were like, I cannot wait till this moment has happened. We are less than 24 hours from this moment happening, sir. Does Wardlow beat Samoa Joe tonight? And does he hand over that belt to Adam Cole?
God, I hope not.
To which
Me
question?
Too.
Both.
Me too.
To both. To both of them.
I did all that just to say that. Me too. Yeah.
It was funny because the question came up a couple episodes ago, and we had said, "Would you consider Samoa Joe a transitional champion if he lost it at whatever this pay-per-view was just called?" And then you were like,
Revolution.
No. Revolution. I was like, "But what if he loses it on Wednesday?" And you were like, "Well, yeah." So now that we're a week from that, do you still feel like it'd be transitional if he loses to Wardlow today?
No, because I do think Swerve is going to win the title at Dynasty, and that doesn't make sense for him to take it off of Wardlow. What I would love, what if we got a returning MJF? And MJF is the one that cost Wardlow the match. Just saying. I don't know where he's at in his health.
Yeah.
But you don't want to have Wardlow lose clean to Joe.
Mm-mm.
So We'll see.
I
But
gotta tell you guys, like this card doesn't seem that great to me. I gotta be honest. Is this when I think about Mercedes and her first show back, it's just this ain't it for me. This ain't it.
So then, so that goes back to what I said. I think AEW was just becoming not for you because you really weren't high on the pay-per-view either. And like I said, the pay-per-view was hate it or love it. This is AEW, right? And now you're saying Big Business doesn't really do anything for you. I feel like if this card doesn't do anything for you, man, WWE just got your heart right now. You know, because like, you think
it's the best they have to offer though?
I don't think they need to even go as far as they need to because they have Mercedes. So that's been my thing. I'm like, you could have saved some of these matches for another show.
And this is a Dynamite.
And just promoted, and just promoted Mercedes. So like, what more would you want from this show? Like, is there another match that you're like, man, they should have put that match on? Is there some different outside of announcing Mercedes that you would have wanted them to do with Mercedes first night? What would have changed for you?
I think I'm just really surprised you guys are riding with this story with the United Empire, whatever their name is. I don't care.
We named them three different things.
I think universally, I think that the faction is cold. So to see them in the main event spot is underwhelming to me, right?
Okay.
I think that you got the new elite, but that's a thrown together kind of match. It just happened just recently. We do got a returning Pac. That's great. Mm-hmm. But you got Eddie Kingston. You got Penta, who loses all of his matches. You got Jay White, as you guys have said. They haven't. He's the ROH 6-man championship, and he's not booked super strong right now, going against a Darby Allin, who we know is probably not going to be around. Well, he said he's not going to be around for a while. He's going to go climb that big old mountain, right? So there's not a lot at stake in that match, right? It's just not a big card if you look at the totality of what it is. If you're an AEW fan, a hardcore fan, because like you keep saying it's not for me, I like the wrestling show. I keep saying every week that I like the show. If you like wrestling, it's a fine show. This isn't a spectacular show. I wouldn't put this show against some of the other shows they put out together. I also think the card is just kind of underwhelming with a big marquee like that, because they've put on huge shows, and you think about the huge shows they've put on in the past 4 months, like this doesn't compare to that, and I don't think it befits a woman like Mercedes.
And that's interesting that you feel that way, because so there's 2 weeks from the pay-per-view, so we got to kind of put that in perspective too. They're 2 weeks off of the pay-per-view, so all their big matches were on that show. They set up Edge and I'm gonna keep calling him Edge and Christian for the next week. Yep, and then we got Dynasty next month, so it's not like it's double or nothing, where they have a whole nother month plus to build more stories. I mean, I just think, man, like, I think it's a great card. I think it's overly good. Like I said, if it was me, I would have just said Mercedes is going to be there, announced 1 or 2 matches, because kind of what the conversation we're having now is like part 2 to the conversation we had on Sunday, where you and I both kind of said, like, hey, stop announcing all these matches. You have conditioned your fan base to only watch when the matches are good, and here they are giving you, in my opinion, a strong card, and you're like, this ain't it for me. Now, what you're saying is valid. Like, some of the things you said is valid, but this is a strong card, man.
I look at it like this. We have Darby, hate him or love him, Samoa Joe, Wardlow, Okada, the Elite, because I love the Elite, and we're assuming Mercedes. That's some heavy hitters for a Dynamite show.
You got your stars. Yeah.
This is what I say. Take yourself, because you guys love it. Because when we had the conversation about the pay-per-view, I said that, like, this wasn't that strong pay-per-view. And I think that we look at the follow-up on Dynamite, the lack of people watching the show that tuned out of the main event kind of shows what I was saying about the build of that pay-per-view and what it actually means to the totality of AEW. Mercedes is coming. Mm-hmm. You're hoping that you're going to get eyeballs on that product that doesn't normally watch AEW.
Right.
You're going to get some of the casuals, maybe some WWE guys that want to check out to see where she's been and what's going on with her. It's the same thing I said when CM Punk debuted on the show. Super strong show, because you're getting guys who don't normally watch like us. They're tuning in Let's wow them. Let's get them locked into our programming. Come out with the bang, with the boom. You guys, I guess, are saying that you think this is a card that's going to bring somebody like Fonzo or other people who don't watch the show. They have enough on this card that's going to bring in more viewers. We all got our opinions. We'll see.
I think what I'm saying is they are distributing their top talent pretty strong on this show. If I was to say, all right, E, you can't control storylines. Storylines are already baked in. Tell me who else you would add to this card that's not on the show. You may tell me Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson, and that may be it, right? Isn't everybody else on this show? And that's my only point.
Tony Storm.
Yeah, maybe Tony Storm. Mm-hmm. They have their stars on this show. There's nobody on that show outside of
you just announced 3 of them that are advertised.
But
it's still a 2-hour show.
It's a 2-hour show.
But we're talking about, so we're advertising. So you advertise your big stars, especially in WWE, people that you may know. So Jon Moxley, okay, the Dean Ambrose connection. You got the Tony Storm, your champion, right? Put her in a prominent, spot and picture on the show. Daniel Bryanson, the original People's Choice, right? Back in the day, like, load up that card. Show people who don't watch this program what we got and what we have to offer and the stars that we have on deck. I don't think Jay White versus Darby Allin is going to bring in new viewers for him. I don't think Wardlow versus Samoa Joe is going to bring in new viewers for him. I mean, maybe as they're watching the show, maybe they might fall in love with these guys that they produce some great results. But I'm just looking at it from an eyeball perspective. Like when you like, oh snap, because they haven't announced it, as you said, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe these big names would be enough to kind of get people to keep floating in and want to see more.
I was just about to ask you then what matches would you pull off the card? And so you just named the 2 there. You can't take the World Championship match off of the cards because this is big business. That'd be, I think, silly to take it off. I'm completely taking Jericho, Hook, and Gates of Agony off for sure. Darby and Jay, I think, is going to be a killer match. Okay, maybe there's not really a storyline there so much, so you could pull them off. But Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley, although I love them, and hell, Daniel Bryan's, whatever his name is, Bryan Danielson, he's probably, again, one of the best wrestlers that's on this planet right now. I still don't think that would have been someone who doesn't watch AEW to keep their attention. Bryan, to me, is really technical. He even do some joint manipulations where he loses me a little bit, but he does a lot of technical wrestling. And I don't necessarily think that somebody would, these people that we're talking about to get the new fans to watch, who's open to a new type of wrestling, I don't think that he would necessarily keep them. Whereas a Samoa Joe, whereas a Darby Allin who wears face paint, who's crazy, I think they would capture that.
You think Wardlow is going to capture that?
No.
But man, again, we gotta stop disrespecting my guy Wardlow. My guy was the hottest thing in wrestling. We got Chris Jericho. Come on, man.
60-year-old ass out there wrestling the Gates of Agony. Look, I'm just saying.
I will say that though. But I'm sure that was Jericho's and/or Tony Khan's angle, like legit about Jericho being on that show. That like you're a worldwide name, you're a worldwide face. We got to have you on the show. I'm sure that's could be what that is. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh yeah, put me in there with the Gates of Agony. They're hot right now. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure that's what it is. But as we always say, we will see. Duly noted, E. But I do think though we also have to be just a little bit careful of asking for like a story in like every match. Like, so I feel like what you're saying is valid to a certain extent. But if you're talking about a show that's centered around the debut of Mercedes Moné, every match doesn't have to be chock full of stories so much that, it could be replaced as a pay-per-view. I just think they have enough big matches to somebody who doesn't watch. I think there'll be enough on this show where they'll say, you know what? I'll come back and watch next week or maybe by the pay-per-view depending on who Mercedes wrestles. And I think that's all you can ask for
and Willow.
From a business perspective.
I think y'all hit the nail on the head on Sunday's show. It's the announcing of these episodic shows, who's on the card. Because like you said, if you just came out and said that Mercedes is going to debut and Samoa Joe and Wardlow is going to have a championship fight match, that's it. Let us watch the show. But like you said, now that you produce and you show us who's going to be on this card, and it's not a pay-per-view, it is just a standard television show, it leaves the people who are like, oh, I've seen that, or I don't care about that, or never mind, I'm not going to watch that, or just let us just watch the show. So I think there is something to that. If you, Tony, put your 1 or 2 matches out there, and then let us watch the show.
Last question, we can get out of here. By time 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, or they'll probably do an overrun. They do overruns like every week now, it seems like. So 10:02 Eastern Standard Time tonight. Are you saying what a way to intro Mercedes? Or are you saying, man, we in for a long haul already?
I'm going to always be positive for AEW, so yes.
I mean, I guess I got to say something positive this time. Yes.
Let's go, B.
I'm going yes. You would hope she has enough creative control with like her character and with Jen being there with her that she's going to be good.
She definitely don't have control of the rest of this card. So, hey, I do want to say one last thing about AEW. I said I'll follow up our boy Grits from the Discovery team. He replied to us, and he said that, yes, he has a Tony Khan tattoo is on his arm. He said it's nearly here. So if you're looking for a bigger Tony Khan fan than Rhodesia, I guess it's my man Grits. He's super hyped. He's super hyped for Big Business. He's like a dog. I mean, he thinks this is one of Tony Khan's. He thinks this is. You guys think this is Tony Khan's best create. This is like his best work right here. It's Riho, Willow, Jericho and Hook, Gates of Agony, Darby and Jay. Let's go. We are setting up our girl Mercedes Moné with the biggest, best lineup, the best AEW has to offer. We are going to see an increase. We going 8 points. We going 870 on the ratings.
Oh, okay.
870,000 people are going to be watching this show. We gonna get.
Are you going to be one of that 870?
Hell no, he gonna be one of 870.
That's what I'm saying. Here we go.
No. So here's the thing. So here's what I will say. If Mercedes comes out in the first, I'm gonna watch that, and then I'm gonna go to bed and watch the rest on Saturday. But if she comes out at the end, I'll be forced to watch the rest of the show. So maybe I should have said it out loud.
Yeah, TK, go ahead and have her come at the end.
Put that thing on at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. I want a 36-minute overrun tonight on Dynamite. Whatever. All right, he tried to get his heel on again with AEW, but it's all good, man. It is all good. We are locked in to Big Business. On Sunday's podcast, I got a couple of questions, too, I want to ask y'all. And we'll ask them on Sunday. One of my questions is going to be to you, Rhodesia. And there is a groundswell of people who I feel like is having false outrage online, particularly women, about no women main eventing WrestleMania, night 1 or night 2. I want to get your thoughts about that, so be ready to talk about that.
Okay.
And then I got a really cool question. I'm actually tell you guys this now so you can do some research. Rich Beats hit me up and sent me a text message a couple days ago, and he said, can you think of a heel? And he went by decades. So he started in the 80s. So he was like a heel in the 80s, heel in the 90s, heel in the 2000s, 2010, so on and so forth. That was never a face, but was a top heel in a company or promotion during that time period. So the example he used in the 80s, he originally said Paul Orndorff, and I'm like, I thought Paul Orndorff was a face before his feud with Hogan. He said no, but he used King Kong. He used King Kong Bundy. When King Kong Bundy was at his height, he was not a face previously. So, like I said, so there'll be 2 questions that we'll talk about on Sunday, along with whatever we see on SmackDown and Big Business. But
that's an interesting question. But a lot of the top heels weren't faces, especially back then. Because Vince was magic back in the 80s. He used to get them dudes. We're talking about it. He used to get them heels hot out of nowhere. And you was like, oh, this dude is going to be the guy that might stop Hogan this time.
He did, but then those guys would fall to the wayside, too. They weren't hot for like...
No.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, like...
Once they would beat.
Yeah, so, like, imagine if Roman was never a face before this run. Of course, we would say Roman Reigns now. But, of course, he was a face.
But
so
see, I don't think in the last 2 decades
cool.
we have anybody. I mean, again, I'll do my research. But I don't think there's any.
He also gave me a couple other people. He gave me somebody for 2010s. He gave me somebody for the 2000s. So.
And are those legit situations? Because
I haven't looked into it. Yeah, I haven't looked into it. I think one for sure is, but I'm not sure about the other one. Yeah. I gotta look.
I just don't think that we can find them.
I think that's pretty fun. Anybody who's listening, of course, or watching, send it to us too on who was your top heels for these decades, and they were never faces, but they were a top tier heel during that time period. We would hit that. All right, so thank y'all for listening. We're done. We wrapping. It's over. Bye.